Good morning, friends. This is Candace here with Solstice Counseling on Monday, November 11th. Happy Veterans Day to everyone who served. And I wanted to do something a little bit different today because here in the States, we had an election last week. And usually I have kind of a rough idea about what I'm going to say, and today, not so much. So we'll see how this goes. So I know that I have people who follow me from Europe, which is really cool. And I'm sure that most people are aware that things are not great in this country right now. Even prior to the election, we were very polarized and divided, and we remain so, probably even more so after the election in which Donald Trump is now the president-elect and is set to return to power mid-January. And there are some people who are very happy with this result, and there are some people who are not so happy with this result, and I happen to fall into the camp of people who is not so happy about this result. And I think there are a lot of, I know that there are a lot of people out there struggling right now with the outcome of this election. And from a mental health perspective and an attachment trauma perspective, I just wanted to offer my 2 cents about why this is. As always, with anything that I say, take what you like and leave the rest. You're free to disagree with me. You are free to share a completely different opinion. That's all fine. All I can do is share what I know, and that is, having been a clinician for a really long time, what I see happening for people, in hopes that it might make a difference to somebody out there. So that's what I'm gonna do today. And I will just start off by saying that even if you don't have a significant history of trauma, or you have done some pretty major work on your own trauma, that you still might be having a hard time with the results of this election. I'm not holding myself up as like this paragon of mental health, but I have done a fair amount of work on my own traumas. And, I've got to tell you, since the results came in, I have been all over the place, swinging from heartbreak to despair to being despondent to feeling furious and full of rage and sad and disbelieving and in shock and numb and a little dissociated at times. So again, I don't say that to say I'm a shining example of mental health, but I think if this is not the outcome that you were hoping for in this election, it's hard. Regardless, it's hard. And I know from talking to friends and family members and clients that that people are struggling with this. So you're not alone, number one, I guess is what I want to say. And the thing I really want to point to today is, if you do have a significant trauma history that you have really not taken the time to heal from or look at, that if this is not the outcome you wanted, why this may actually be harder for you, and you might be suffering and struggling a little bit more than people who have less trauma or have done some healing work on their own trauma. So the first thing that I want to say about this is, again, this is just my personal, and also as a clinician, this is my professional opinion as well, that, when you look at Trump, he's the classic definition of a narcissist. He's pretty textbook. And I can do a separate video about the diagnostic criteria for a narcissist if that would be helpful to people. But for now, I just want to say that that is what I believe to be true. And I also believe that as a collective, that we have been I don't think psychologically abused is too strong of a term, for, frankly, his first 4 years in office, and certainly during his reelection. We have been lied to, we have been manipulated, we have been gaslit, we have been bullied, we have been intimidated, we have been exploited. And it's psychological abuse, frankly, by a bully and a perpetrator and an abuser. Whether you voted for him or not, I believe this to be true for everyone. And I also, believe that I have a lot of clients who have had narcissistic abuse in their past, either growing up or, their spouse was a narcissist. I have a lot of people as clients who have come from this very authoritarian background. Again, my own personal opinion, I think that there is a literal cult, and I don't mean that in kind of a, sort of throwaway term. I mean that, in a very real sense. There's the cult of Trump, and his followers have been just absolutely brainwashed to blindly follow whatever it is that he says without questioning it. And there are a lot of people out there who this really mimics their own childhood, having a very authoritarian parent. It was their way or the highway. They had no ability to form independent thought or a sense of self beyond, kind of what the authoritarian parent would allow or permit. If they tried, there was punishment, there was retribution, there was vengeance, there was withdrawal, withholding of love. And, frankly, that's what Trump is doing, and has done and will continue to do. That's what he's promised to do during his term. That's one of the things that he has been running on. So if you are a person watching this who recognizes in your own history that you have been raised by a parent who is a narcissist, or who has a severe mental illness, or who is very strictly authoritarian, then this election result might be even harder for you, because it's going to likely bring up a lot of feelings of helplessness and powerlessness that you experienced in childhood, of being marginalized or being dismissed or being intimidated or threatened or exploited in some way by somebody who as a child had complete control and authority and say over your life. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if this was your childhood experience, that a lot of those feelings would be resurfacing for you right now. The other thing that I think is probably going on for a lot of people right now is there's a big sense of injustice in all this. Like, the fact is Trump is a convicted felon, right? And he's had all these charges of sexual abuse against him, and he's likely getting ready to pardon himself and kind of get away with all these things. So that is also a very real childhood experience, unfortunately, for a lot of people, where they have had authority figures in their life who were just, awful to them in egregious ways, boundary violations, that, quote, got away with it. Like they were never held accountable. Nothing ever happened to them, quote unquote. So that might also be coming up for some people. And depending on your attachment style, you might be having a very different reaction. There's 4 trauma responses. There's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Fawn is extreme people pleasing. And I guess I just want to say, if there are people out there watching who are feeling a lot of despair right now, and maybe are in kind of that freeze where, like, I feel like I can't function, or I don't know what to do. Number one, just to recognize that is a trauma response. And that there's like you're not alone again, and that there is help available to you. Like you don't you don't have to stay stuck in that. Sometimes if you're in a freeze, and a freeze can literally look and feel like, you know, I can't get out of bed. I can't function. I can't do the things that I need to do in a given day. Sometimes the antidote to freeze is like just literally movement, like getting up and, you know, walking downstairs or taking a walk around the neighborhood. But please don't let this take you under. If you're despairing right now, there's a lot of help out there. And just know that it's likely that you are feeling particularly beat up by this, because it really is triggering and mimicking a lot of the dynamics that you grew up with in your house. And you know, reach out. It doesn't have to be to me. I am happy to help if you feel like I would be of support to you. But there are lots of people out there who want to help you and want to support you. And you don't have to suffer. You can reach out and you can shift things for yourself. And frankly, you know, and I don't say this in the way of like, you know, kind of like giddy up, let's go. But that is a lot of what, you know, kind of narcissists depend on, is that their relentlessness and their persistence in, you know, not abiding by the rules or the law just gets people so exhausted and so overwhelmed and so tired that they just roll over and give up and say, I've had it. You know, no more, you do what you want. And sometimes it can be very reparative or healing in the relationship to yourself to say, I'm actually not going to let that happen right now. It doesn't mean you have to go out and, you know, join the resistance or be a political activist. It could just mean something small like, you know, I'm going to cook myself a healthy meal today, or I'm going to drink a lot of water today, or I'm going to take a shower today. Because the truth is, like, you know, we need you. We need you. We need you. You're valuable. And I know there's a lot of people out there right now who are feeling marginalized, who are feeling excluded, who feel very despairing and hopeless. And please get help. Please reach out if you need to. I was talking with somebody last week, and they were sharing that, you know, the suicide rate had gone up since the election results, and that just breaks my heart for people. So if you're recognizing that this election is really having a very hard effect on you, I just wanted to offer from my little corner of the world an explanation of like why that might be. It very much might be triggering for you some pretty intense feelings that you had from your patterning and conditioning growing up in a dysfunctional home. And, you know, frankly, sometimes half the battle is just recognizing what's going on and why we're feeling that way. And please reach out, if it's not to me, again, to a friend, to a family member, to a coworker, to somebody that's safe, and get support for yourself. And you don't have to suffer in this. You're not alone by any means. So I guess that's all I wanted to say today. It's really heavy out there and icky and yucky, and just a reminder that it's okay to take a break from the news and to not be tuned in 24/7, and to go take a walk in nature, or to you know, put your feet on the ground. It's okay. This is a marathon, not a sprint, right? So anyway, please reach out if there's anything I can do professionally to help you, or if you know anyone, you know, I'm happy to have a conversation with them. And I don't have any magic words or solutions other than to say, like, I'm just right there with you guys. And if you have a trauma history, your reaction or response to this outcome of the election can be really amplified right now. And just know that that's real and there's help. All right. Much love to you guys. Bye-bye.